Click on changes to section. Yeah, I can handle it from here.
Okay, should be done, right?
Yeah, I should.
Okay, should I leave this here with you?
Yeah, you can leave it. I'll bring it to you if you want.
All right, good.
Yeah, you just take this one.
You don't need it?
No, I'll just use this.
Thank you.
Yeah, how you doing?
Yes. I don't mind. No, I don't mind doing it. Because there's no money how to get out. Do you think so?
Hey, hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you to those who are on time. At the same time, I'm sure the room's gonna get even more full. So please come in, have a seat, have a seat. Have a seat. Today, I think, will be one of the most important classes that you take. If I could get my 107. 107? Okay. All right, get me a bunch of those. You know, when people ask me, what is success? And how is a loan officer successful? Okay? All right? And can I see your weekly accountability sheet right there, the one that you have here? Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, that one. Yep, that one. I'm going to have them print me out more of these. Sammy, if you could have Linda print me out 40 more of these, please. Those, or just print out 40 for me of those. Okay. Do you know the difference between success and failure in real estate is? And it's very easy. You know, it's funny because my son asked me the exact same question. My son asked me the exact same question. Hey, Dad. You know, and I was actually sort of shocked because he would ask me that question. You know, he's a junior in high school, and he asked me one time, how did you become successful? You know, and in all my years of training, I got very, very lucky because I got into real estate by accident. But I got into real estate when I was 18 years old. You know, and it was funny because while I was going to Davis, I was supposed to be a doctor. I graduated number 2 in my class in high school. It was a big high school, and I got into schools like Harvard and Stanford, but I decided to go to Davis because I grew up in West Sacramento and I lived in Southport. It was only like a 20-minute drive, so I said, you know, I think that going to Davis would be better for me, right? And it was cheaper for my parents. So when going to Davis, I remember my mom, she came to me and she said, well, you're working so hard going to school, but at the same time, you know, I was working at Safeway at the time, you know, Safeway. And at Safeway, I worked the night shift because, you know, during the day, I'd go to school and I wanted to make some extra money to hang out with friends and so forth. So I was working the night shift at just stocking at Safeway. And my mom said, you know what? You know, you don't have time to study. You're tired all the time. Why don't you do something where you can make your own schedule? And guess what? She got me into real estate. And she said, well, in order to get into real estate, you got to take the class and so forth. So I remember me and my friend Larry, we signed up for Lumlow School of Real Estate over there off Howe Avenue.
I went to that school.
Oh, good. Yeah, so I took that class a long time ago. And so I got my license. but my friend didn't. Taught me something very early on. Says that, not everyone who starts something finishes it. Okay? Because my friend made it to 1, 2, 3 classes, and pretty soon there was some kind of excuse for not making it to class. And I said, well, he go or he don't, I'm still gonna go. And so I immediately got my license at a very, very young age and got into real estate. The very first company that I joined, it was funny because the very first company that I joined was a company called Coldwell Banker. And I joined the Fair Oaks office of, well, not Fair Oaks, it's the one off Sunrise. It's Gold River office of Coldwell Banker. It was my very first company that I joined. And I was there for 6 months. And you know how many deals I closed when I was at Coldwell Banker? I closed a whopping 0 deals. Please have a seat. Come on in. Get comfy. So I closed a whopping 0 deals at Coldwell Banker. 0. And the broker even told me, maybe this business is not for you. But instead of quitting real estate, I really had a goal. So then I went and joined a small little office called John Brooks Realty right here off Assembly Court in South Sacramento. That didn't even have access to MLS. They only sold HUD homes. And because they only sold HUD homes, that's what I sold. Please come on in. They only sold more HUD homes. So because of that, because of only selling the HUD homes, I decided I'm just going to sell the HUD homes because that's what my broker sold, was HUD homes. And so I went out there and I sold these homes in G Parkway. And man, for $18,000, my first escrow was $18,000 sale. And my first client was named Mom and Dad. My first client was named Mom and my Dad. And so, but it was a commission. It was a commission. And the commission was at least higher than my weekly paycheck from Safeway. And so I got the bug. I got the bug so well that 1 year after I joined that company, I became one of the top foreclosure agents in the state. Okay? I went from my very first $18,000 sale to selling within a year, 2 years of me being in the business, to selling on average a home every day when I was 20. Okay? And it was funny because at that time, I'm 20 years old. I sort of retired my own broker because I closed so many transactions that he retired. And instead of working for another company, I just started my own when I was 20, and this is the company you're sitting in today. So I started this company when I was 20. And through these 25 years of having this company, I went from having my very first company be Coldwell Banker and not doing very well at all to in 2001, I became one of the owners of Coldwell Banker for this whole region. That's why a lot of my awards outside were Coldwell Banker awards. And then we just didn't have the same direction, us and Coldwell Banker actually. And then so we left and we did our own brand. And then some years ago, I was approached by Berkshire Hathaway and said, man, you're doing so well in this area. We want to partner up with you and let us work together and grow this area for Berkshire Hathaway. And that's why we're here. But it doesn't change the fact that this is still my company. It doesn't change the fact that I remember when all of the area that you see here was just a piece of dirt when I bought it, and I built all these buildings up that you see around here, and I own them, and so I don't rent this place. I own this place. I'm not an employee, I founded the company here. So the thing is that I know what it took from the first time my mom told me you should get into real estate to standing here in front of you today. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
But if I had to boil it all down to one thing, and that's the one thing that we're going to teach you today. If I had to boil it all down to one thing, okay, the one thing can only be, it can be summed up in one word, and the word is called action. Okay? So I'm going to give you a formula I've gone by for the last 24 years. Okay? I'm going to give you a formula I've gone by for the last 24 years. Okay? Okay, and I think that starting the day with the story I just told you is very important, because whatever you learn today and moving forward, if you can't put this principle in place, then you'll never do well in this business. You will never do well in this business. There's all these sayings by all these books, you know, and you can read all these books from Napoleon Hill, you know, his great book, Think and Grow Rich, to all these other books that are out there, okay? If you read between the lines, all of these books all boil down to you got to go out there and have action. Because this is what I want everyone to understand. Information, okay, minus action equals failure. So write down this formula and keep it with you, you know, keep it with you and understand how powerful it is to understand this. And I'm already teaching my son at a very young age to understand this, okay? Is information minus action equals failure. Okay? But it's funny because if you just took one simple thing in life, okay, and you just change one little thing, and you put a line between that little thing, information plus action equals success. The difference between success versus failure is a very fine line in life. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The difference, and then make sure that they have this on video, okay? So we can post it. All right, so make sure. But the difference between success and failure in life is just a very fine line. You don't have to have, you know, 24 hours in a day to work more than your competitor to be successful or to beat your competitor. You don't have to be 10 times better than your competitor to beat your competitor. You know, it's funny because I don't know if you heard, but this guy named Bryce Harper in baseball just signed a contract, you know, a lifetime contract to play baseball for the Phillies, and for over $300 and something million for the next however many years, and he hits like 260. He don't hit 500. He hits 260. On his best year, I think he hit 300. You know what that means? You know that when you go up to in a game of baseball, okay, when they say you hit 200, it means that every 10 times you go up to swing the bat, you hit the ball twice. Okay? Some of them are home runs, some of them are singles, doubles, triples, and home runs. But you hit the ball twice and you get on base twice. Okay? Okay, when you hit 200 in baseball, all right, then for every 10 times you go up to bat, you hit the ball twice. Okay? When you hit 300 in baseball, okay, you hit the ball 3 times. The guy that hits the ball twice does not make it into the major leagues. The guy who hit 200 is in the minor leagues making like a $500 a week food salary, food pay, okay, or whatever. Okay? Not even earning money for family. The guy who hits the ball that one more time, every single time he goes up to bat, every 10 times he goes up to bat, gets a $300 million contract. Don't tell me the guy who gets the $300 million contract has to hit the ball 100% of the time. Not possible. The guy who hits 300 for his career might be in Hall of Fame. The guy who hits 200, no one knows about. Okay? The difference between success and failure is a very fine line. I told everyone something last week and a few weeks before, is that this business is an all or nothing game. If 5 realtors talk to a client, there's no second place. The number 1 realtor will get the client, okay? The other 4 had wasted their time because they didn't get the deal. Make sense? The listing, the seller doesn't award a first, second, and third place. Seller don't pay 1.5% to first place, 1% to second place, and 0.5% to third place. And 3 realtors don't go out there and market a property. You guys understand that? Okay? He said you win or you go home. But the difference between win and lose is very little. You both look professional. You both showed up on time. You both had a good listing presentation. One of you might have one thing above the other agent, you win. Just one thing. Just one point. One key point made you win or you lost because you were lacking that one little point. Does it make sense? Yeah. In a basketball game, how many points do you have to win by to win the game? 1. So I want you to understand that about this business. It's only a 1-point win. Okay? So number 1, you go into every single client meeting, okay, trying to win as many points as you can. Does it make sense? You go to every meeting trying to win as many points as you can. You look professional, a point. You have a good presentation, you have a point. You're well-spoken, you're ready, you're prepared, you have points. Maybe you wear a Berkshire Hathaway on your chest, you have 10 points for being part of the number 1 real estate company in the world. Maybe there's points there, okay? But whatever it is, you go into a meeting with points, okay? Looking to win points. But what we're teaching you today, I think is super, super important, is because it's the one thing that can make or break this business for you, okay? Today, we're going to talk about action, okay? Okay. The first thing I'm going to hand out today, is one of the things that we all take for granted, okay? Is we all take for granted, and then just take one and pass it down, okay? One of the things we take for granted in this business is the fact that if action is the key to success, the problem is that not a lot of you don't know what you need to do. One of the problems is a lot of you don't know what you need to do, okay? And this is what I mean by that. And this is, if I had to break it down for realtors, and if you don't mind, leave the rest on that corner so when people come in, they can just grab it. If there's extras, if you grab all the extras and just put them in the corner table there, okay? Yeah, and then if people come in late, they can just grab one here. One of the problems, I think, between people who are successful and not successful in real estate, all right, is the fact that they don't know what they need to do in real estate. That's one of the biggest problems, is that we all don't get into real estate wanting to be lazy people. And we all don't get into real estate wanting to be unsuccessful. We all want to be successful, I think. We all want to make money. That's a reason why we're here. But here's the biggest problem. One of the biggest problems in real estate is you don't know what you need to be doing every single week. You know? You don't know what you need to be doing every single week. And still, right now, I think a lot of you don't know what you need to be doing every single week. Keeping busy is not a success formula. Does it make sense? Keeping busy is not a success formula. Believe it or not, do you guys realize that some people will spend a whole entire day just trying to figure out what to do for the day? And when they get done figuring out what they need to do for the day, day's over. Okay? You understand that? I'm going to try to change that for you, okay? Because I'm going to pass out a second handout. The second handout is something I think is also ultra important. So take down this and pass it down. Okay? Just pass it straight down, so you guys it goes by down faster. Okay. Okay. All right. One of the most important things to understand about being in business, okay, is understanding what a day looks like, okay? For a successful realtor, you need to understand, so we're going to do two things, try to accomplish 2 or 3 things today, okay, as I'm training. One of the most important things ever in real estate to understand is what are my 4 or 5 activities that I do every single month that will guarantee me leads, and leads become deals, okay? Now, I gave you a list of 107 ideas for you to do. But you think I expect you to do 107 different things to make money in this business? No. Really, what you need to do is just 4 or 5 things. Problem is that a lot of people have never narrowed down the 4 or 5 different things that you do to get business consistently every single month. Does it make sense?
Yes.
That is the problem with this business. Okay? I'm going to draw something for you. And maybe if you have something that you could draw on, maybe follow with me to draw this, okay? And then make sure I get all the video, okay?
Yeah.
Because you're going to post it. I'm going to draw something for you. And this is very important. First thing I'm going to draw is a roof. Okay? And then I'm going to draw a foundation. Okay? There's a roof and there's a foundation. If there's nothing in between, guess what happens? If there's a roof and there's a foundation, if there's nothing in between, what happens? The roof collapses on top of you. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
You guys understand that? So what normally holds a roof up? What normally holds a roof up? So let's just name it something. I call it a pillar, okay? You know, or just, you know, a pillar. Pillars hold the roof up. If I put one pillar here, is the roof held up?
No.
Well, if it's balanced. If it's balanced, I think it might stay up. But then a little breeze, a little wind, a little nudge might send the roof tumbling over, right? So you need more than just one pillar. You know that some people, they get into this business and the roof is what keeps you going. It keeps shelter over your head. You know, they have a term. I have to make money to keep a roof over my head. You guys understand that? Yeah. Is it true that in real estate, you need to make money to keep a roof over your head or stay in this business? Yes or no?
Yes.
How many people here, a nonprofit organization, you here just because you just like to be here? You just like to be next to people. You don't care if you make a dime or not. No, we're not like that, right? Are we? So the roof is for you to make money. And some people, they get into real estate with only one pillar. With one pillar. You know what that pillar is? They hope that their friends and their family is enough to keep their business alive. Okay? And you know, that's not a bad start. Not a bad start. Some of us have a pretty, you know, big family. And we know people. And for some people, they've done well with only their friends and family through the years. Okay? And obviously, we don't want to do this business without incorporating the, you know, getting ourselves out to friends and family, right? But the thing is that can't be the only way you get business. Okay? Unless you make this pillar, this wide. If your friends and your family, or we call it your sphere of influence, is this wide and this powerful, then you're fine. That's the only thing that you need to work on. Does that make sense? So for some of you in this room today, one of the most important things that we're going to try to accomplish today, okay, is that we're going to try to accomplish you deciding in your business what your pillars are going to be. Okay? Because in reality, this is fine to have friends and family as a major pillar in your business, but it's also okay to have other activities as major pillars in your business. And let's say we made 4 major pillars. Let's say major pillar number 1 is friends and family. Maybe we make pillar number 2, you know, these are ideas, you know, social media and technology. Okay? Maybe number 3 is from advertisements and marketing. And maybe number 4 is other prospecting methods. Other prospecting methods. And so, in the combination of 1, 2, 3, 4 things that you do per week, and believe it or not one of these things take you more than 5 hours a week to do. Not one of these things really could take more than 5 hours a week to do. But if you can incorporate these things, what if you implemented a marketing plan that really worked with friends and family? Okay? And Sammy, if you could help her sit down somewhere. Oh, you going? Okay.
I have my kids at home and
Okay. So come on. Missing out on the most important class. But here, make sure you watch it on video. Okay? But what if friends and family, what if you did 5 hours a week, focused on that one pillar, on friends and family, and you're able to get a 1 deal a month from it? Just one. What if you can focus on things to do for social media and technology, but that also becomes 1 deal a month? Let's say you had an advertising campaign out, and that meant 1 deal a month. And through one of your other prospecting methods, you got 1 deal a month. Okay? And every deal brings you $8,000 net times 4, $32,000 a month, times 12. Someone with a calculator real quick so I don't have to do it in my head. What's 32,000 times 12?
38,400.
No, 32,000 times 12.
Sorry.
Huh?
Add a 0.
$384,000. $384,000. Hey, Sammy, help me with this. Let me text him my tax ID and broker license number. You can get that from Linda. All right, so $380,000 a year on doing something that I think is one of the most simple possible things you can do in real estate. If you're not making $400,000 a year, then my question to you is why not? Most of us can count to 4. But my question is why not? And if that's so easy, why can't you double this? If it's not so easy, why can't you double this? You know that when I was in real estate, my average is 1 deal a day. And so sometimes it baffles me to think, why can't you close 4 or 5 deals a month? I've had people close, record numbers for me in the past, and sometimes, they've closed 20, 30, 40 deals. You know that there's at the Berkshire Hathaway conference, they were giving awards, and the lady that won the award, okay, was an African American lady from Virginia, and last year she closed close to 400 units. Wow. 300 something transactions last year. And you'd think she must have been doing this business for 80 years now, right? To be able to get that many clients. No, she's only been in real estate for 3 years. She's only been in real estate for 3 years. So you said, well, she must have been a professional salesperson all her life. No, 3 years ago she worked for the government. On a normal desk job. So you said, well, then what's the excuse? No excuses. What's the catch? No catch. Spoke to her. She does normal stuff. These normal things is what she does. Okay? She just does them a little bit better, I guess, right? Because she only has to be a little bit better than everyone else. She doesn't have to be a lot better. She just has to be a little bit better. And she wins every time. Does that make sense? So one of the biggest things that you need to make a decision, hopefully today, is you need to make a decision on what are the 4 or 5 pillars of success that you are going to incorporate into your business. One of the most important things that you will ever make a decision on today is what are 4 or 5 things that are going to be the pillars of your success. I gave you a list of 107 things to choose from, but really you don't have to just choose from that. You can choose from other things that are not on this list. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
But one of the most important things that you'll ever incorporate into this business is that you need to know what are the 4 or 5 things you need to incorporate. So let's do this since we're here, on the back page of this, write down 4 or 5 things that you have already thought about doing in your business on getting leads. Okay? Let me ask everyone something as you're putting the 4 or 5 things down. Does it matter, okay, if you know your contract, your real estate purchase agreement by heart and you've memorized it in your head and you know every single word on every single page? Does it matter any of that if you have no clients to write offers for? Does it matter?
No.
No. Does it matter if you know the whole escrow process from beginning to end and you know how to read a preliminary title report, like a children's book, you know it so well? No, it doesn't matter. Some people get into this business and they want to be all knowledgeable. No, The only way you become all knowledgeable about this business is you just gotta start doing deals. When you start doing deals, all types of stuff pop up. And then over the years, as you've closed your first 10 deals, your first 50 deals, and you've closed 100 deals under your belt, you've seen it, you've done it. That's when you become very good at it. Does that make sense? You don't become a good basketball player by reading a Michael Jordan book, or Phil Jackson book, or Kobe Bryant book. You learn how to be a basketball player by just stepping onto the court, putting on some shoes, and start shooting. You miss enough, once it goes in, you find some success, and you start making it, and pretty soon you're great at it. Does it make sense? You don't learn this business from being in a class or reading a book. You learn this business or taking a seminar somewhere. You learn this business by doing it. And right now, when you're in this business, then you know what you're doing? You're going to be lead generating. Okay? Before you can become successful in real estate, the thing that you need to learn how to do the most is you need to learn how to lead generate. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? You need to learn how to lead generate before anything else. Okay? So the most important part of what I'm trying to teach you right now is you need to clearly identify your 4 or 5 activities that you're going to do to lead generate. And you've got to do those activities. Let me ask everyone something. And I know that I've asked some of you before. Does any gym sell 6-packs? I'm not talking about the 6-pack of beer, okay? I'm talking about 6-pack on your belly. Does a gym sell 6-pack? Or do they sell membership? So when you join the membership, do you automatically lose weight? See? Real estate's the same way. You joined the membership of becoming a realtor, okay? But it doesn't come with deals. Like when you join a gym, you got to pick 5 or 6 activities that you do on a weekly basis in order for you to get that 6-pack and lose weight. If that activity is swimming, you better be swimming every single week. Not the first day you join the gym. If your activity is lifting weights, then you got to have a workout schedule. If your activity is you're going to do the treadmill, then you got to do it consistently. If your activity is yoga or one of the aerobics classes, then you do those consistently, right? Yeah. So when you join a gym, you have a membership to the gym. It doesn't mean that you get a 6-pack to come with it. There's no special you pay for to get an instant 6-pack. You got to put in the work. Does it make sense? Yeah. When you join this gym called Real Estate Gym of America here, called Berkshire Hathaway, being licensed by Department of Real Estate, yeah, you joined the gym. Now it's time for you to pick up 4 or 5 exercises for you to do every single week. Does that make sense? Okay? And that cannot be a guess. So I want you to look at this next sheet that I gave you. It's called Weekly Accountability. Look at this sheet for me. Weekly accountability is very important for you to understand. Okay? And you might think this is simple, but this is the key to your success, guys. And I want to explain to you why. Is that today, hopefully you choose 4 or 5 activities, and you take those activities and you put them somewhere on this sheet. Okay? And you assign an appointment to that activity that you do not break for nothing. Does it make sense? This is what happens to people when they're on the course to fail. I'm telling you this much. I'm warning you ahead of time. Okay? Is that you say that you're going to do 4 or 5 things when you first started in real estate to be successful. But you fail to specifically identify what those things are. But worst of all, you fail to identify the day and the time during the week that you're going to do them. Therefore, you don't do them. Those 4 or 5 specific things in your head gets muddled in and blurry to the point where you don't know what you need to be doing. And you don't know what you need to be doing, and you don't know the time you need to be doing it. And therefore, days go by, and the days become weeks, and the weeks become months, and the months become years of failure to close transactions or to give yourself a consistent income. Does it make sense? We lose years of being ineffective in this business. We lose years. Does it make sense? We don't lose days. We lose years. Every month that goes by that you're not making $20,000, $30,000 is a month that you lost. Not because you didn't have the skill set to make that money, because it wasn't a good month when it came down to the activities that you should have been doing. You guys understand that? If there is a goal that you have in mind of how much money you want to make, I'm telling you that your goal might be less than $30,000 a month. It could be more than $30,000 a month. But every month that goes by, you're not making what your goal is. It's not because of your skill set. It's not because of the company you're with. Okay? It's because that month and the month prior to that, you just had a bad month. But bad months really boil down to bad weeks and bad days. So let me ask you something. Are you hungry to make, to achieve your financial goals in this business? Are you hungry for it? You want to make that money? Because even if you didn't make all the money you always wanted to make so far, it doesn't mean that next month has to be a fail. In this class could be day one if you want. Today could be your first day on the journey of making $500,000 a year or $1 million a year. It could be your first day. Okay? That lady that made 300-something transactions this last year, 3 years ago, she had her first day. Right? 3 years ago, she had her first day. 3 years later, her life has changed. Does it make sense? So when is that day that you're going to make a commitment to change? Is it going to be today for some people? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, if that's the case, then we're doing the most important thing right now. Is that number one, you got to identify what is the 4 or 5 activities that you're going to do to bring in leads. Now, that's a very important thing, because when you identify an activity, you need to dig deep into that activity. When you identify an activity that you want to do, today, when you get out of class, you got to make time to identify and break down what that activity entails, okay? And how to properly do that activity, okay? I'll give you an example. Okay? And I use this example a lot, okay? Is that I have, and I still have, agents that pick one activity and they do it extremely, extremely good. Okay? Example, I have one agent, and she's actually one of our top producers, where her only pillar is friends and family. Okay? But she still closes 10 to 15 to 20 deals every single month. Okay? All right? And what she does is how she farms her warm market. She does it so well that she tap roots all of their friends and family, and she gets an unlimited stream of referrals from that group of people. Well, that's one of the things that should be part of your core competency, part of your base game. And what I say is that you should implement a system that automatically fully farms all of your warm market every single week. It keeps farming your warm market, keeps farming your warm market. It's a machine that we have. It in the Berkshire Hathaway system via our back office and conversion that just keeps farming the people that you put into the warm market. It's a farming system. Okay? So one of the things that you should put on your core in your system is I'm going to incorporate systems to farm all of my warm market, my sphere, my database. Okay? And that's a system we teach every single week in lab. Okay? But then you have to ask yourself, okay, if that's one of the things, that's one of the things that we're doing, then how is that system working for you? Okay? Are you sending out all your newsletters? Are you sending out all your campaigns? Are you sending out, is conversion hooked up with all your contacts, and is conversion communicating with everyone on a weekly basis? Okay? So that's one system. And that system, you know what you need to do? You need to go on this weekly schedule, and you should put maybe 2 hours somewhere, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, where you focused on 2 or 3 hours. 2 or 3 hours of your friends and family campaign. Okay? So what I would do is if friends and family sphere of influence campaign is something that's important to you, then you should block out a day. Block out a day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Block out a day where that is your focus on for that day. Okay? Block out even a 2-hour time frame. That's it. Okay, so every Mondays in the mornings, okay, from 9 a.m., so I'm going to drop all my kids, I'm going to come back home, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., I'm going to be focused on my friends and family campaign. Okay? I'm going to stop for 2 hours, I'm going to focus on my friends and family campaign. Okay? See, right now, can someone raise their hand if you have a friends and family campaign that you really send out, you really nurture? Okay, there's 3 of you. Okay? So if friends and family campaign is one of the things, and all of us should be doing it, okay, we should have a time for our friends and family campaign. Okay? There's one thing in the friends and family campaign that works really, really, really well. And if you just try it for 2 months, just try it. Okay? It takes no more than probably 2 hours a week. 2 hours a week. But I guarantee you, after 2 or 3 months of it, okay, you should be getting at least a deal every single month after that. Okay? And it's part of what I call Power Hour campaign. All right? But I'm just giving you an idea, okay? Because you're going to come up with all these ideas. There's something I taught this super producer to do. And even though now she stopped doing it, the residual is still around 5 to 10 deals a month. But she did it religiously the first year. And after that, she sort of stopped doing, but it just got a life on its own. Okay? And she did it. She's one of the people that really listened and did it, and then she became top producer. Okay? I had her, and the thing was, her previous job, it's funny because, yeah, she's been with me for around 3 or 4 years. Her previous job was she's a waitress at a restaurant. She lived in Fresno. She just moved to Sacramento. I had her doing it, and I thought she would fail because she knew no one here. And then last year she made 7 figures. I don't know how she did it within 3 years. And this is what she did. Okay? So I told her, she said, I don't really know anyone. I said, okay, this is what you do. Okay? And then this is called my ABCD system. How many people have ever heard me say my ABCD system? Anyone? Raise your hand, you heard it? Okay. So I had her do something from the friends and family. So this is part of one pillar, okay? This is part of one pillar. And Brendan, there's still seats available. You don't have to stand the whole time, So see if you can squeeze in somewhere. Don't there's some seats here, guys. Feel free. Find a place to sit. Okay? Grab a chair. You guys don't have to stand. Okay? So part of the ABC, the CD system is this. And this is actually very powerful if you can do it. Is number one, okay, we have what we call our top 100 prospects. Top 100. But when I say top 100, all right, when I say top 100, if you do this, you're going to be at least starting your success trail. Everyone in this room needs to have a list that you make from your cell phone. All you do is you open up your cell phone and you start with the letter A. Okay? You got to do this. If you haven't done it, then what's stopping you from doing this? You start with the letter A and you work your way to the letter Z. From A to Z, you will just write down of all the names of the people that are human beings on the list. Human beings that you still have some kind of contact with. Okay? All right? Specifically, do it. Make a list of 100. And you write their name and their phone number. Okay? All right. You have to have this list. Okay? Now, this is what you do. Once you get this list, I want you to draw 3 lines. Okay? 3 lines. A line between 25 and 26, a line between 50 and 51, and a line between 75 and 76. The first group of names, I want you to put the letter A. Seriously. The first group of names, I want you to put the letter A. The second group of names, put the letter B, which is the second sum 25. And hey, if you can only get to 80, then it's okay. Then there's groups of 20, okay? All I'm trying to get you to do is you're going to get your 100 in there, and you're going to divide your 100 into 4 groups, A, B, C, and D. Okay? When I'm coaching you, I'm going to ask you, do you have your A, B, C, D list? Okay? Then what you need to do is do it. Specifically, just do it, okay? If you do it, you're going to feel empowered by the second month. And this is only one activity of many activities you can do. Okay, but just please do it. If you do it, you're going to feel so empowered, okay? So once you've labeled the list A, B, C, and D, I want you to know what the letters are for. A means the first week of every month from now until forever. A means that you just simply call everyone in A in that week sometime to just say hi. Okay? B is the second week of every month. You just call the second group of people just to say hi. C is the third week for the month. 4 is the 4th week of the month. D is the 4th week of the month. Okay, this is how it works, okay? This is how it works. The first month and the first week, a week, okay? So like this month, if you make the list today, this week happens to be, I think we're in the 3rd week of the month. So this week would be week C. Okay? On months where there's almost 5 weeks, then there's 1 week we have off. Okay? All right? You don't screw up. It's just the 1st week of the month, the 2nd week of the month, 3rd and 4th week of the month. Okay, on your calendar. It's on your phone. It's in the calendar app on your phone. Okay? But here's what you do. And then how you would do it is that you would reserve a 2 1-hour slots to do those calls every single week. It only takes 2 1-hour slots to do it. Does it make sense? Okay, this is my ABCD phone list that I'm going to call. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. Every 1st week of the month, you call group A. Every 2nd week of the month, you call group B, C, and then D. The 1st month, you will probably get very little from it, but some of you will get lucky, okay? All right? I've had people call A and leave after calling A with 2 deals. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
One person called, when I told them to do, they called 5 numbers, and the 5th number they called gave them a listing. And then they never made any calls ever again. Because they said, my calling was so successful, I got a listing, so I never called again. Okay, that's called insanity, okay? But it's okay, this is an insane business, all right? So, this is what happens. When you call the 25 people in group A 1 month, first week, the very next month comes around, so this is April, May comes around, and that first week again, you called all 25 people again. All of a sudden, these people in their minds got a second call from you. You planted a seed. Exactly 1 month later, you called the same group of people. All of a sudden, you planted this second seed and you started nurturing the seed that you planted the month before. So this person just heard from you for the very second time within that month. To them, it seemed like only a week, but it was a month. So you planted the seed, so the seed starts to grow, and they start thinking, wow, I just heard from him not too long ago, and they called me again. So the third month, you do the same thing. I want you to understand, it's the same list. You don't have to rebuild that list. But over the course of the year, you might add to that list, so you're doing more than 25 calls for the week, or you might replace some of the people that you just can't seem to get a hold of with better people. But you never change A, B, C, and D, okay? And you never change the times. Every single week you do A, B, C, and D. But this is what happens. By the third month that you've finished it, you've called all these 100 people 3 times, each in 3 months. Either called or left a message, okay? Hey, call me back, how are you doing? None of them sales calls, okay? Just reaching out, reminding them you're with real estate, but give them some information. Oh, hey, I just want to tell you, hey, real estate market's, doing really well in Sacramento. I just want to give you that information. That's it, okay? But here's what happens, believe it or not. By the third and fourth time you do it, these people, the seed starts to grow. And it's not this mass email that you're sending out. This is your voice that you're sending out with. This is a conversation that you're having. And they start building a very, very favorable impression of you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You see, I'm going to tell you something. All right? We talk about touches in this business. Keller Williams teaches 33 touches. You need to touch someone 33 times in a year. But what you don't realize is it's also how you touch someone. Okay? A voice touch is sometimes worth 5 or 6 electronic touches. Does it make sense? Because it's a real voice. A face-to-face touch, if I see you every couple months, that's enough for us to call ourselves friends, and I see you 6 times in a year. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
There's some people that you don't see 6 times in a year, even your parents. You disfamily them if you don't see them more than 6 times in a year? No. So the thing is that the key is you're building a consistent touch. I want everyone to understand something, okay? The only way that your friends and family, okay, becomes your powerful sphere is if you continue to build the touches, okay? And the thing is that if you want a business that will last forever, then you are fully rooted into people's brains, and you're fully tap-rooted into their whole warm market base, their whole warm market. I want everyone to understand, for every 1 person that you tap-root, it's worth 100 people. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
For every 1 person that you're able to tap-root, it's worth 100 people. Does it make sense? Raise your hand in here if you've been to at least 5 of my classes so far. Raise your hand. Okay? Now, in the 5 times that you've been to classes, I hope you've gotten some value from it. But let me ask you something. If you had a friend and your friend just got their license and you've been to my trainings, would you refer your friend to me to work for the company? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Would you refer your friends to the company? And that's one of the reasons why we hire so many agents. is because hopefully we're always in front of you. You always get to see us. My message is always very similar. My message is always, I always try my best to train you as best as I can. Does it make sense? Our classes are always consistent, and we're always there to teach you. Whether you're successful or not. Let me ask you something. What if this business doesn't work out for you, and you got a full-time job somewhere, and then you decided to give real estate a break? Even if you ran into someone that might be interested in getting into real estate, would you still refer them to us? Yes or no? Sure. See, that's the thing, is that as you're building the seed in people's brain, they might never buy a home. The person, see, so that's why it's funny, because people disqualify people. When you're making your list, you disqualify people. Oh, this person's not ready to buy. So what? They're a human being. Oh, this person showed up at my open house, but they're not ready to buy it. You're not ready for another 2 years because their credit's bad. Why did you disqualify them? They're a human being. You continue to cultivate them. You know why? Because you're not going after them. You know who you're going after? The rest of the 100 people they might know. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
It's funny because we disqualify human beings for not being ready to buy. And we ignore the fact that these are still human beings and know a lot of other people that might be absolutely ready to buy. You guys understand that? Yeah. So when you make your top 100 list, I just need to know that those are the top 100 people you know that's breathing. Okay? And then you need to go into that list, and you need those 100 people need to hear from you. How many people in here consistently reach out to at least 100 people every month, and those same 100 people are the same 100 people you reach out to every single month? How many people have ever done that? How many people do you know that are in another business that's always reaching out to you? Anyone? Do you know anyone that's always reaching out to you? Who's always reaching out to you? Salespeople. Okay? But I bet you some of those salespeople are the best. They're the best. They're the best at it. It's funny because the best rep for a mortgage I've ever dealt with was this guy from UWM, Bob Wright. He's always reaching out to me. Is that right, Suwinder?
Every day, almost once a week or so, So he's
always reaching out to me. Man, at first we didn't use that lender. Now 65% of our loans go to that lender. I'm sending him 50, 60, 70 deals every single month.
And you call him, he's on the phone all the time. So.
Is he awesome?
I called him last night, 7 o'clock. Probably back 9 o'clock over there.
No, it's at 10 o'clock over there.
He's at 10 o'clock.
Yeah. So I want everyone to understand something. Is that really, I think he calls me maybe once a month, but it seems to me like he's calling me every single week. Because we don't know better. If you're able to get, so I want everyone to understand. So you have 100 people on this list, okay? You've categorized them A, B, C, and D, all right? You know that in your system, you're reaching out to all 100 people about the same time every single month. You're building this relationship. I know for a fact that within 3 months, and 3 of your phone calls and conversations, I know after 3 months, there's no other agent in this field of real estate that's doing that. I don't think. And if that's the case, by the 4th or 5th month you did it, you are top on their mind. And everyone that they know, the 100 or 200 or 500 people they know, if real estate ever comes up, your name is the first name they think about. Does it make sense? It's called being top of mind. You understand that?
I just want to add that when I coach, I call it the art of the 2-minute phone call. And just like you said, you don't call, it's not a sales call, you're not pushing. It's just, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
And what I add is to take notes. I always advise to have a call log because people are easily impressed if you remember one thing, like they're getting ready to go out and take their kid to these college campuses, and then you bring that up next month. They don't bring it up, you bring it up. So how'd that go? They're very easily impressed by it.
Yeah, yeah. So that's excellent. We're actually getting, thank you, Damien. We're actually, and then when you call, when you call, remember you have your top 100 list. Every time you call, you just write down one thing after your conversation that you remember from the last conversation you had. And you just bring it up the very next time. You almost chain them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You almost chain every single one of them. Okay? Hey, and because you say, hey, how you doing? What you been up to, right? And then you remember one little thing, and you bring it up the very next time. I'm very impressed with that. Okay? But believe it or not, when you do that, when you train yourself to do that, so if you want to do that, then you take on your calendar, and here's very important thing, is you got to pick a day and a time every week for you to do that. And I'm going to tell you why that's so important. I'm going to tell you why it's so important. Is because when you pick a time that's consistently for you to do that every week, your body trains yourself to make that activity easy. Your body trains yourself to make that activity easy. Does that make sense? Yeah. Some people, they hit weights. Some people, like for example, I know the CEO of our company, Gino Blafari, is at the gym at 5 in the morning or 5 or 6 in the morning every other day or every day. That he was talking about that. Remember that, Sam? He's in the gym, at the gym by 5 a.m. 4 or 5 days a week. For some of you, would that be hard to wake up at 4:30 to get to the gym by 5 a.m.? Is that hard for you? Yes or no? For some of you, it's very hard. For him, it's habit. But then he's in bed by 8 o'clock every night. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For you, is it hard for you to get to bed by 8 o'clock at night?
I'm being about 6.
Sometimes my wife and I, we start dinner at around 8 o'clock at night because she gets home, she has to fight through traffic, so she don't want to leave. We live in Granite Bay, so she don't want to leave here at 6 to get stuck in traffic. So she'll leave here at 6:30 or 7 and get home by 8. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So we don't eat dinner at my household sometimes till 8:30 at 9 o'clock at night. It's just the way it is. But then she don't get here until like maybe sometime 10 because we don't want to be fighting this traffic at 8 a.m. You see what I'm saying? So our hours are different. That's what we're used to. So the thing is that all you have to do to make yourself successful in the ABCD calling program is you just need to pick a day in here. Just one day. 1 2-hour slot or 2 1-hour slots. And all I'm asking you is, okay, my Mondays 9 to 11 all are my ABCD calling days. At 9 a.m. I'm going to start. I'm not going to be late for that appointment. And at 11 o'clock, I'm going to stop. And I'm not going to burn myself by doing that. Okay? If I was only able to get through 20 of my 25 calls, then I'm not going to, I'm going to make up my 5 calls on a different day because you know what you're trying to get accomplished. And then next week, I'll book myself for an extra half hour to finish those calls up. So next week, I'll just have to readjust my schedule by half an hour so I have more than enough time to make my 25 calls. Whatever it is, okay, I'll give you an example. I had a door walker that joined my company, okay, from Keller. And for like the year that she was doing it, she wasn't very productive at it, okay? And when she joined us, she became a super productive canvasser, super productive. You know what we changed? All we changed was the fact that when she was walking, she would walk random days and random times, and she would always go to new neighborhoods. Tell me the 3 things that she did wrong and why. Tell me.
No consistency.
Huh?
No consistency.
One is no consistency. What's another thing?
Randomly.
Huh?
Working randomly. You said on
Walk in random neighborhoods. Okay? What's something else she did wrong? Different times. Well, if you ever put anything into place, that's why, scientists, when they do anything, they always put certain parameters they have to stick to, right? Does that make sense? Because why? Because if you consistently have certain parameters of doing something, you could get statistics on it. And when you consistently do something and you get statistics on it, then you can adjust to make the statistics work for you. Does it make sense? So you know what I did? I said, from now on, you're only going to walk on these days, okay, and these hours, and you're only going to walk this neighborhood. Because, number one, when you're always walking different neighborhoods, no one ever gets familiar with you because you're always a stranger.
Right.
You're always a stranger. Every door you knock, you only knock on the door once. You're always a stranger. If you're going to canvass, then you pick 500, 600, 700 homes, like in a subdivision, and you continue to walk the same subdivision. Why? Because the first flyer they get on the door from you, because not always they open the door, but the first flyer they got on the door, they know that a human being passed it out. So they pay attention to it because a human being passed it out. More than just you get it in the mail and you just throw it right out. A human being was at your door. You just want to see, man, what human being had the nerve to put something on my door, okay? And then all of a sudden, that same human being, a month later, put the same thing on my door again. Caught my attention. The third time, the human being was at my door. I was home at the time. Human being, I opened up with that human being, and now it's a human that we end up talking to. And I actually recognized 2 of their flyers, so I actually talked to them. Because in my mind, they're like a little bit of a celebrity now. On the 4th month, the same person walked up to me, and now now I sort of know them. And I got some information from them because I was looking to list my home. On the 5th month, that agent I list the home with. See, that's how it works. Does it make sense? So all I did was I said, number one, you want to walk on the same days. Okay? You want to walk in the same neighborhood, so then you can figure, so these days I could ask the person, how many homes can you knock in 1 hour? Does that make sense? You know that this person covers 200 homes in 2 hours. Okay? All right? This person sometimes walks with their loan officer, who's also one of my loan officers, and they walk both sides of the street. One walks on one side, one walks on the other side. If someone happens to open the door, then you stop, and then the person walks over, and both of them talk to them. That's it. Okay? But you always walk the same homes, pick a neighborhood, because you're not looking for the deal right there. No one's crazy enough in their mind to give you a listing right there on the doorstep. Does it make sense? All you're doing is you're building a relationship. You're walking the same homes so you get your rhythm down. So you know how much time you have to book, okay, so that you can get your thing done. You know how many flyers you can make. You know the streets. And pretty soon, the same people see you over and over again, right? And then she even adjusted her time. She moved it back an hour and said, oh, it was better because I moved it back an hour. You know? But then, so you start being able to improve what you're doing because you did it so consistently. Does it make sense? If you're doing open house for the very first time, you're still wondering where to put your open house signs. You're still wondering what you're going to pass out. But guess what? My guy who does 2 open houses every weekend, he already knows exactly where to put his signs. His signs have all his pictures and phone numbers on it. He knows exactly where to put it. He knows exactly how to pick them up. He knows the rhythm to it. So open houses are easy. He knows exactly, he has a conversion system all set up on the screen. Walk in, you sign right into conversion. First name, last name, phone number, email address. The conversion system, while the person is walking through the house, they get a text message from our system with the app to download. By the time the person gets home, they have an email from our system thanking them for visiting the open house and why we're the best company to work with. 2 days later, they get another email giving them information on other homes in the neighborhood. 5 days later, they get a text from us saying, hey, you visited my open house 5 days ago. What do you think about it? It's all part of an automated system that we have to convert people into leads. Does it make sense? So what I'm trying to say to you is, whatever you decide that you want to do, all we are here to help you with is create a system so that it becomes easy for you to implement. Does it make sense?
Robert, I just want to say something right quick. When you're doing your open house, you might have to leave the house just for a few minutes and take a look at your signs, because they take your signs down. When somebody else come in the neighborhood and do their house, they take your signs down. They took all my signs down on the house.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then maybe next time go to open house with someone and go, check on your signs and so forth, or go with someone or whatever have you. Okay. And it does happen. It does happen. It happens.
I don't know.
Sometimes it happens. Okay. All right.
I want to ask you something you talked about in a previous class I went to about like everyone you touch, it's like 3 generations or something you talked about, where it's like you might not get them, but you'll get like.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. It's called tap rooting.
Okay.
See, guys, what Brandon just asked me is the concept of tap root. The concept of tap rooting is when you touch someone enough times, okay, their opinion of you slowly drifts up to the top of their mind. Okay? See, this is what happens. If they don't know who you are, okay, let's say, for example, all of you guys know some kind of plumber or painter, that if you needed to paint your home, that you would refer that painter.
Right.
But what if you met this new painter that's consistent, that's always reaching out to you, contacting you, and pretty soon they took you out to lunch once, twice, 3 times. And all of a sudden, next time you run into someone that needs a painter, you sort of forgot about your old painter because there's this new painter that just came up. That new painter is top of your mind. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So what you need to do is you need to come up with, a way, several ways to get top of mind to people. So that's our friends and family system. Okay? There are other systems that you could choose. Okay? Open house system is one of them. Some kind of advertising system is another one of them. Some people incorporate a Facebook advertising system. That's Facebook, newspapers, advertisements, that's marketing. And then there's prospecting, which is the calls, which is the notes, the emails, the text. Whatever it is, you need to incorporate certain activities, right? Once you've incorporated the certain activities, what you need to do, this is super important, is number 1, you need to identify 3 or 4 or 5 activities that you want to do. And once you identify the activity, you need to break that activity down to see how long does an activity like that should take. Once you've broken that activity down, you need to take this, and remember, you miss any of these steps, it may not work. You need to take a weekly schedule like this, and you need to put approximately and set yourself an appointment in your phone of when you're going to do those activities. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
And once you've carved that time to do that activity, you don't change it for nothing. Does any of you or used to or have kids that go to school?
Yeah.
And when the kids go to school, is that a priority activity?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah, sure.
For you, is taking them to school and picking them up, is that a priority activity for you? You just like not picking up when you don't feel like it?
People do.
You know what I'm saying? Well, the thing is, that's real estate, guys. Is real estate, when there's activities you need to do, you need to block the time in like an appointment and prioritize it. And you need to do something, and this might be difficult, is that you don't alter that appointment for nothing. Just like if your kid was sick and they needed to see the doctor and your doctor's appointment was 2:30, you don't miss it for nothing. Friend calls you to go have a beer. Oh yeah, I'll go to the beer with you. I'll take my kid to doctor some other day. No, you don't miss it for nothing. Because this is what happens to fail. Real estate fails. You know what happens to real estate fails? Things come up and you cancel that activity because for you it's not on the priority list. It's like a DVR. You know, you put a new recording in and it just basically cancels out the old recording. And you're so mad because you missed that old recording because you didn't tell the DVR that my old recording was a priority. I just didn't know because I recorded the series. I didn't know it overlapped. Well, the thing is that you cannot let other things, hey, let's go play golf. No, I'm sorry, I can't do that because I have an appointment from 9 to 11. Even though that appointment was just your call. The moment you say, okay, yeah, I can move my, I'll just skip that for the week. The moment you skip it once, you skip it always. Does it make sense? The moment you choose an activity to do, if your mind allows you to skip it once, pretty soon, your mind allows you to skip it always. You guys understand that? Okay? See, that's the tough thing about being your own boss. Is that, so one of the things, so what did we learn today? That's very powerful. Today, we all learned that we need to get 4 or 5 activities that we're going to use as pillars to hold up our roof. And these pillars should get us at least 1 deal a month. Some of you were so lucky that one of these pillars will give you 2 or 3 deals a month. Does it make sense? Yeah. I'll give you an example. I have a group, you know, a little team, and they do mass advertising. They pool their funds together, and they do a $10,000 campaign, okay, a month on advertising, okay? But that $10,000 campaign gets to them a lot of leads, 400 or 500. From the 400 or 500, you know, some are better closers than others, but consistently, as a group, they'll get around 8 to 10 deals a month from those. You know, so I mean, in reality, you're paying $1,000 per deal for, you know what I'm saying? Right? Which is a lot. Until you figure out that what we do makes us around $10,000 a deal. You know, putting a $1 bill in a machine and getting a $10 bill back, it cost you that $1 bill, but you got $9 net. Does it make sense? Yeah. You see? But they had the bravery to put together a system where they're spending $10,000 a month in leads. Right? Yeah. So they're getting a great return. And so that is, you think that all they each do? No. They're 4 real good producers, and they all have their own warm market. They all do their own door knocking. They all do their own open houses. But it's just their marketing campaign is one of the things that they do. Does it make sense? But that one thing they do well enough to give each of them at least 2 deals a month. How many people here would pay $1,000 to get 1 deal a month? Anyone? If you could find a way to pay $1,000 for something, but you get enough leads to get 1 deal a month, and that 1 deal gives you $10,000, would you do it? You know that I knew a gal that advertised on Zillow. You know what they advertised on Zillow? $25,000 a month. Yeah, $25,000 a month budget on Zillow. But that got them and their team over 1,400 leads a month. They would spend $25,000 a month, but they would bring in $250,000 in closings. They would close 10, 12, 15 deals a month from it. So if you got to the point where you're spending $25,000 a month for something, you bring in $250, it's still worth it, right? Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that part of your research in yourself, you want to get to the point where, hey, yeah, I'm going to spend. Now, of course, if you're spending $1,000 a month and not getting anything, then we do something else. You think everybody around in the world that advertises on Zillow or Realtor.com makes money? No, but not everyone loses money either. Okay? If that doesn't work for you, then do something else. Do Facebook. But just don't stop on it. Does it make sense? Not every person that wears a Nike logo makes Nike money. Okay? Nike invested into LeBron. They made billions from LeBron. Nike invested into Jordan. They made billions from Jordan. I'm sure Nike has invested into total fails too. But doesn't stop them from trying to sign the greatest athletes in the world. Does it make sense? You know that Nike gave Tiger hundreds of millions of dollars. And all of a sudden, Tiger, for 15 years, could not win another major. I watched it. Okay? All right? Tiger got back surgeries, got issues with marital problems, cheated on wife, got pulled over under drugs. He was at a low life in his career. Okay? Tiger, 15, 20 years ago, unstoppable young phenom. Had 15 years of losing, but Nike never left. Now Nike last week just hit a jackpot. No, Jordan hit the jackpot, but Nike gained $1 billion. Okay, I mean, the Tiger Woods got $3 million for that win, but Nike now, who continued to support him, just hit a jackpot. They said that win alone probably boosts Nike's value by $1 billion, because now a whole new young generation of people are going to be following Tiger Woods again. Does it make sense? You guys understand how epic that was for Tiger? That was the biggest win of his whole career. It took him 15 years to do it. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is that you can all be sensational in this business. You just have to take a day and decide if you're going to take action to this or not. Remember, the very first formula I gave you at the very beginning of the day was what? Information plus what is success? Action. Information minus action equals what? So you leave today, you can decide to be successful or you decide to fail. Unfortunately, it's your decision. Because, yeah, you might work for the broker, you might work for the company, but in reality, the true boss is yourself. You're independent contractor. Does it make sense? Okay? So if that's the case, you need to understand. You need to schedule your days for success. So let's talk about that a little bit. Because next week, I'm going to go into something that is going to be really powerful. But actually, I'm going to try to get some of it today, okay? I'm going to try to get some of it today, okay? Okay. I'm gonna show you how to do something I think is very powerful, and I'm gonna show you how to do a little bit of what we call the zone. Okay. So everyone, make a box like this for me. Make a 4-square box. In the car industry, they call it 4-square. This is my zone training, okay? This is my zone training. This is very important for you to learn. Okay, very important for you to learn. You learn this, you're going to start making some money, okay? Because this will help with your weekly accountability schedule. All right. I want everyone in the 4 squares, okay? There, the first square, top left, okay? I want you to name this square the blue square. Blue. Okay? The square to the right of it is called the green square. Okay? The square below the blue is called the yellow square.
And the next one is
Red. And each of these squares represents the zones. The zones in which we're successful, okay? If you learn how to balance this, you can be successful for life. You don't do this, then you're going to find yourself unsuccessful and you don't even know why this happened to you, okay? In my years, when I developed the system, I have almost 100% seen people that don't produce. I can identify exactly why they don't produce. People that produce a lot, but then stop producing, I've identified why. Okay? And I'm going to tell you what each of these zones mean. I want everyone to understand that this is not a job. When you are working a job, you get your hourly or your salary regardless if the time that you spend there is productive or not. Does it make sense?
Right.
If you show up at 9 and you leave by 5, as long as your boss don't see you, you could be online on YouTube and Facebook and looking for people and looking for mates on Tinder, whatever it is you're looking for, you could be doing whatever, pretending you're busy. No matter what, your boss still has to pay you because your time was there. But in this case, you're your own boss. I'm going to tell you right now, when you are acting in real estate, it doesn't necessarily mean every minute you're working in real estate is a good minute. Does it make sense? Right? Sometimes I've had people come for power hour, okay, and make phone calls. And in the hour and a half, they're sitting there doing power hour, they make one phone call. You just cheated yourself. Does it make sense? Okay? So one of the things I want to train everyone to be able to start doing, if you do this, you're going to start learning very quick, is this. Blue time zone, blue time, with a combination of yellow time, will turn into green time. The green time activities that you do in real estate are the only activities in real estate that make money. I'm going to tell you right now. There is blue activities, yellow activities, and there are green activities. But if you don't understand that only the green activities make you money, then when you're not making money, you have no clue why you're not making money. That's because you're not doing anything that's green. But then you can't get any green time without blue and yellow. But here's the problem. Some people do so much yellow time and so little blue time that even if they did a little bit of blue time, the yellow floods the blue, it does not become green. Okay? Some people, they get into real estate and they have no clue what they're doing, so all their time is spent in the red, which is wasted time. So first of all, let me tell you what all these times mean, okay? Green time are money-making activities. Green time are the money-making activities, okay? These are the activities you want to do most. You know what a green time activity for real estate is? Showings. Showings are a green time activity. Listing appointments are green time activities. Writing offers or accepting offers is a green time activity. Writing and accepting offers is a green time activity. Do you know that one of the biggest problems with stagnant careers is that people think the escrow process is a green time activity? People it's so funny, because some people work so hard to get a deal or two in escrow, and the moment they put a deal or two in escrow, they stop working and watch their escrows for the next 60 days. I don't know if you realize that. Let me ask you something. Have anyone in here been a culprit of getting a deal in escrow, stopping all your marketing and prospecting activities to watch that escrow? You've done that?
Oh, yeah.
Does it make sense? Oh man, I got a deal in escrow. I'm going to spend all my time watching the escrow, even though there's nothing being done. You already did their inspections. You already did your walkthrough. You're just waiting on their lender to close. So you stop and you watch your escrow. Does it make sense? So green activities is showing, listing appointments, writing offers, accepting offers. Those are green activities, okay? Let me tell you what the blue and yellow activities are. Blue activities and yellow activities are all, the blue activities is your prospecting and your marketing activities. It's your farming. It's all the things in your pillar. All the things that are pillars are all blue activities. All your pillar activities are blue activities. Okay? So all of your pillar activities are your blue activities. All of the activities that you see here are blue. Okay? Your yellow activities is what you're doing now. Raise your hand if you got a client from sitting in this room today. No.
No.
You didn't get a client from sitting in this room today? You didn't just turn to one of your neighbors and say, hey, would you like to buy a home? Does it make sense? You didn't do that. Your yellow activities is your R&D, your research and development. Okay? Okay, it's your escrow work. It's the time that you have in escrow. It's your inspections. It's the things that you have to do to maintain your deals or learn more. Oh yeah, so what all of you, hopefully, later today, will have some yellow time booked to start implementing what your 4 or 5 pillars are going to be. You should book some time later for you to sit down by yourself and put together what this weekly schedule is going to look like. Okay? Because you know what I want to see and you want to see for yourself? You want to see in your eyes what a week looks like in the day and the life of you. Okay? And you want to take this once it's cleaned up and you want to post it somewhere where you can see it every day at your desk, wherever. And you need to color code it. All the blue activities that you're going to be doing. So you know it's blue. And you know that we have class on Tuesdays and Thursdays for lab that you should go to until you're a top producer. Okay? And you got to see that there's blue and yellow in there. And then you know what you got to do? And you know that you got to then adjust. Say, hey, I'm going to add some green time in here. These are days I do my showings. These are days I go take listing appointments. These are days that my Saturdays are showing days. But believe it or not, unfortunately, you're going to have to put red in there too. There are things, even though red is not bad, there are things that you need to put in there, okay, that carves out time for your family and things you do on the side. If there's church, that's not a bad thing. It's just not related to real estate.
Right.
So anything that's red is something that's unrelated.
To real estate.
Unrelated to your real estate business, RE business. Okay? But I'm going to show you how to turn red into blue. I'm going to show you how to turn red into blue. Once you've identified things that you think are red, like church can be red. But the 10 minutes you spend before getting to church and the 10, 15 minutes you spend staying behind after church could be turned into blue. If you just spend a little time with that focus of just meeting new people from church before and after you come and you leave. Does it make sense? Maybe you turn church, and since you're family, maybe you join some type of after church program where you get to meet more new people. Now you're actually turning a red time into a blue time activity. Does it make sense? You know? Because I'm going to tell you this much. The best agents are the agents that actually mix family with real estate. You turn a Christmas function into a blue time activity. You turn a Thanksgiving get-together. You turn a fellow friend's softball game into a somewhat a real estate activity. Does it make sense? So, huh?
The class is blue.
What? No, this class is what? Yellow. Okay. All right. So I'm going to tell you that you need to ask yourself, where as an agent have you fit? Okay? All right? Where as an agent have you fit in the past? There's agents that come into the business and they're so into learning how to do the business.
Yeah.
They go to all the Tom Ferry's, Brian Buffini's, they go to all the classes, read all the books, and they don't implement nothing, so they're called the professional student. The one that learns, fills up their mind with knowledge, but never closes anything. These are the ones that eventually get jobs working for builders for $10 an hour, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they're good, but they never really implement, okay? These are the loan officers that go working for Wells Fargo Bank because they can't self-source any of their own business. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? They're knowledgeable, but they have no blue skill. They have no blue skill. Blue is a skill. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
And they have no blue skill. All right? Yellow will never become green. Blue is very close to green, and blue will turn green even with a hint of yellow. Seriously.
Yeah.
Blue will turn green with even a hint of yellow. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
All right? If you're brave enough to do the blue, eventually you'll start fixing your stuff with yellow. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They're never, and then I'm going to give you a very important number here, okay? Once you determine all the available time you have in your week, 50% of your time should be spent on blue, 25% on yellow, okay, 25% on green. Someone that keeps to this formula, of course, as zero as possible on the red when it comes to real estate, okay? The time that you have available, 50% of the time that you have available has to be spent on blue. And one of the things that everyone needs to sort of understand right now is that not all of you have the same amount of time to devote to this business.
Right.
Some of you are part-time. Some of you have other commitments, other jobs, other things in your lives that you're already committed to. One of the things that all of you guys need to know is, what time do you have to commit to this business? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's why you need a weekly accountability. Because you need to know what days you're going to commit to this. Because you know what happens, guys? If you don't do this, even though you think you're committing to real estate, you're just not doing it. It's easy to say, I'm full-time in real estate. I work 40 hours a week. But what you're doing is you're selling yourself short. Because if you are saying that you have 40 hours a week for real estate, then you have to ask yourself, are you spending 50% of that time on blue? And if you're spending not even 1 hour on blue, then how in the world are you ever going to get green? How in the world are you ever going to get green if the time that you have spent working in this business is not spent on blue? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The only way you get green is you have to do blue. Okay? What?
Information plus action, yellow plus blue.
Yep. Information, just so you know, is the yellow. The action is the blue.
Okay.
Okay?
Good.
Okay? So this brings us right back to our formula. Is the yellow is the information.
Yellow is the information.
The blue is the action. Okay? The green is either the success, okay, or the red is the failure. That's all there is to it. The information is the yellow. The action is the blue. Okay? You add these up, it becomes green. You take these away, they become red. It's easy. But isn't that powerful to really finally look at it?
Yeah.
Is it powerful to understand?
Yeah.
I want to tell you something in life. Success is actually simple. Success is actually simple. As long as you understand the activities that you need to do to be successful. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
You know, when I've taught this class, do you know that I've had people flood themselves with blue, inundate themselves with green, open up so many escrows, okay, that they had no time to do any more blue because they're spending all their time handling the escrows. They're stuck in yellow. That when they cash all their checks, they run through a dry spell because they forgot to continue to do blue.
Right.
If you do so much blue that you get so much green, if you can't handle all the green, you get buyer's agents to handle all your green. Some of your green, you be the listing agent, just take listings. Okay, when you have so many deals in escrow making so much money, you have more than enough money to afford a transaction coordinator and an assistant to handle all of your escrows in yellow. The best agents continue to do a ton of blue. They find buyer's agents to help them with the green, and they start building a team. They get assistants to handle their yellow, and all they see is green. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All they see is money. You want to get yourself to that point. And what we did was draw a roadmap for you to do it. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Now, all you need to do is that congratulations, you are in my class where we're talking about a bunch of yellow. Okay? You got 2 hours of strong start to your yellow time. Okay? But there's still some yellow time that's owing for today. You still need to go through the list of ideas, and you still have to get together your 4 or 5 pillar plan. Make sense?
Yeah.
When you identify what your pillar is going to be, it cannot be one thing. It has to be 3 or 4 pillars. Okay? Once you identify your pillars, all right, I want you to break down the plan for each pillar. What are you going to do for each pillar? If it's open houses, if it's canvassing, door knocking, if it's making your phone calls to your ABCD list, if it's incorporating conversion, that's still only one pillar. You need to figure out 4, okay? Once you figured out your 4 pillars, then I need you to take out this chart. You need to know what your Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday look like. And you need to schedule your time. Because you know what's going to happen? For some of you, when you start scheduling your time, you're going to find out you don't have enough time to do those pillars. Then it's time for you to make adjustments in your own life schedule to make time for certain pillars. That's when you say, okay, Game of Thrones is not as important to me as I thought. Okay? That's when you say, or well, some of you, not, it's very important. Okay? That's when you say, no, this bowling league doesn't work for me. That's when you say, okay, I'm going to carve this time out. Does it make sense? Because once you do that, once you have a piece of paper like this, once you color a certain area blue, once the area is filled with what your activity is going to be, and once you start doing those activities, you will find out that green activities will start popping up.
Yeah.
You're going to start seeing leads become clients. Clients become contracts. Contracts become closings. You will start seeing that. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
But you will not see it if you don't listen to what we're training on. You will not see it if you don't do those steps. Does it make sense? You see? Is that powerful?
Yeah.
Okay, that's powerful. It works for every business, not just this business. Okay? It works for life in general.
Yeah.
So if you get yourself, because see, when you do each of these steps, you're going to start feeling empowered. When you get this paper and you make a schedule for activities, and then when you make that a first appointment, you're going to start feeling empowered. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? Now I'm going to give you the final cherry on top. Okay, I'm going to give you the final cherry on top. Okay? I would like each of you, okay, either in this room or with someone else in our company, I would like you to each choose an accountability partner. Okay? You don't have to share your deals. Okay? You don't have to share the deals or anything like that. Okay? You don't have to work on deals together. But I'd like you, okay, in this room, okay, or if there's an agent in the company that you know well, I'd like you to get an accountability partner. Okay? It could be you and another agent. It can be you and another loan officer in our company. It could be you and an agent that's sitting next to you at your cube. Whatever it is, I'd like you to figure out an accountability partner that has the same goals. And you guys hold each other accountable for getting these steps done. And hold each other accountable for making your appointments for yourself. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? Once you have your accountability partner, okay, then you know, I have office hours after my trainings on Tuesdays and Thursdays and even before, and I can meet with you and see how you're doing with your accountability partner, you know, and you know, you can do this without an accountability partner, but I think there's less likely, you know, a little bit less likely, you know, unless you're just super driven. But if you're already super driven, you wouldn't be attending this class, okay? You know, you'd be closing 10, 15 deals a month already. So the thing is that, guys, now it's time to get out there. You can make a change in your life with a simple addition of action to it. Does it make sense? Okay? Add this extra step called action. Understand and organize what your week looks like. If I ever come to you and say, hey, what does your week look like? You know, the most successful people in the world know what their weeks look like. They know what their Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays look like. They know exactly when they need to do their blue time activities. If you don't know, then you're at the poker table and you don't know how to win. Okay? You're the dead money out there. Does it make sense? Don't be the dead money in this business, okay? Be the winner. Make sense? Okay? All right, guys. Thank you. Let's go ahead. Let's do our planning, okay? All right. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. All right. Oh, you gotta go? Good. For a second. Hey, Sammy, make sure Sarudan turns off the recorder, okay?
I know. Does anybody have an open house that they want I don't know. She must be in the office.
Why don't you come bring the guys that?
I didn't